Hello! Welcome, everyone, to Tub Trivia. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well, having a lovely week. This is your bi-monthly dose of trivia straight from the bathroom. I am your bubbly, blonde host, Justin Dodd, otherwise known as Bubbles Montgomery. What do you say we get started with our very first question? Here it is. Mac and Me was a critically panned 1988 sci-fi family film that has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes and is infamously known as a shameless ripoff of which 1982 film? Mac and Me. That's the question. If you think you know the answer to which movie is Mac and Me a ripoff of, type your answer into the chat right now to get your first point of the game. Mac and Me. Type it in. What do you think it was? The answer we're looking for is E.T. Yep, Mac and Me tells the story of an ugly little alien that makes a friend with the young boy on Earth, and it's also pretty clearly a feature-length commercial for McDonald's and Coca-Cola. It has an impressive 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. No good reviews. If you got that right, give yourself a point. The night is basically going to go just like that. I read you some questions, you type your answer into the chat if you think you know the answer. At the end of each round, tally up your score, and we will move all the way to our fourth and final round. Whoever has the most points wins. What do you win? Oh, I'm glad you asked. You win glory, pride. Maybe I'll give you a signature smile, right? One of those. Oh, that was just a taste. You haven't even seen the real thing. That's just for the winner, okay? If you just want to play along at your own speed, though, that's totally fine. No pressure to type your answers in, but do make sure to just yell your answers aloud to yourself so that your neighbors get really confused. Let's begin with round number one, which is give or take a letter. Okay, give or take a letter, a little spelling round, kinda. In this round, I'm going to give you a clue. You have to identify the answer, and then you're going to add or subtract one letter to get the second half of the answer. Just a fair warning, you might also have to rearrange the letters in the first word to get the second part of your answer. Correct answers will consist of 2 words, okay? If you just type in one, that's not good enough. You need to give me both, okay? So if I say start with the type of animal that includes poodles and Rottweilers, then add or subtract a letter to indicate what you do at a green light, the answer you give me is dog and go. Give me both. Understand? It's okay, I don't really either. Let's begin with question number 1. Give or take a letter. Start with the type of animal related to equestrianism, and then add or subtract a letter to reveal what a cobbler might work on. What are the 2 words I'm looking for? Start with one, add or subtract a letter, give me another. Type your answer into the chat if you think you know it, and then we're moving right on to question number 2. The answer we're looking for this one is horse and shoe. Get it? You got the horse, you take away the R, shoe. That's how it works. That's called spelling. Fun fact, a farrier, incidentally, is the specialist in equine hoof care, which includes the trimming and balancing of horses' hooves and the placing of shoes on their hooves if necessary. Great, now you know. A farrier. Is it just me, or do horse riders have a lot of fancy words when we could really just describe it much simpler? This is just the horseshoe guy, you know? Equestrianism? It sounds really cool, but can't we just call it horse riding? I don't know. I'm a simple guy. What can I say? Question number 2. A coffee beverage is what we're starting with. A coffee beverage consisting of espresso, steamed milk, and just a little bit of milk foam. And then add or subtract a letter to describe what a goody two-shoes might do when they see a peer misbehaving. Ooh, all right, 2 totally different things, but they are only 1 letter apart. First, we got a coffee beverage. Any Starbucks heads out there? Any Buckheads? And then, what a goody two-shoes might do if they see a peer misbehaving. Type your answer in. A couple more seconds. Did you guess? Latte and tattle. Latte and tattle. That is right. Did you know that there's an entire section of the Latte Wikipedia page dedicated to the politics of lattes? Apparently, being called a latte drinker is some sort of political attack that I was unaware of. In Scandinavian politics, the term the cafe latte segment is used to describe elitist voters. All of this led to a 2018 study in the United States that definitively proved that 16% of liberals in America prefer lattes, whereas only 9% of conservatives do. Phew! Thank goodness we put money into that study. What an important thing that we figured out. Question number 3. Start with the last name of the Serbian-American inventor known for his work with electricity, and then add or subtract a letter to reveal something which ornaments a graduation cap. Ooh, okay. Got a little bit of history in here, but we also just got that thing. We all know what we're talking about, but do you remember what it's called? The thing that goes like this? Is it right to left or is it left to right? I want to say left to right because I'm American and that's how I read, but right to... Somebody in the comments, please tell me where this thing... Does it go from left to right or right to left? I'm embarrassed. I promised I graduated from middle school. All right, question number 3. Type your answers in. Did you guess? We're talking about Nikola Tesla, and it's a tassel. Or a tassel. Tassel? Tassel. One of the two. Nikola Tesla, instrumental in the development of alternating current, AC. Here's a not fun at all fact about that whole time period. During the so-called current wars, which pitted the AC power against Edison's preferred direct current power, Edison toured the country, sometimes electrocuting animals to demonstrate the danger of alternating current. Yikes! Seems like there was a much easier and less lethal way to show that, Edison. I don't like that. Nikola Tesla, when I think of him, I just think of David Bowie playing him in The Prestige. Now, David Bowie's best role, I gotta say. I also want to give a shout out to Angela Trotti for recognizing Tesla Tassel is a great stage name. That's very true. Tesla Tassel would make a great, that'd be a great name for a little performance. Question number 4. Start with the last name of a sarcastic professor who taught potions and defense against the dark arts at Hogwarts, and then add or subtract a letter to reveal the back of a person's neck. Okay. I'm sure we have some Potterheads out there who are gonna know this, but can you combine the two answers? What are the answers we're looking for? By the way, guys, stick around after this episode of Tub Trivia for Mental Floss's first burlesque show starring Tesla Tassel. Question number 4. Type in your answers. Did you guess? Snape and nape. Yep. Back of your neck, the nape, and obviously we're talking about Severus Snape. Fun fact, the late Alan Rickman, who obviously the actor who portrayed Severus Snape, is a very talented actor, amazing filmography under his belt, but his first professional acting role was portraying Sherlock Holmes in the play Sherlock Holmes, which has really got me thinking I would love to hear Alan Rickman's version of Elementary, My Dear Watson. Which also, another fun fact, Sherlock Holmes never said that phrase in the original books. Nope, never once. Your final question of the give or take round is, start with the country that has the world's largest population, and then add or subtract a letter to show the preferred fashion accessory for the rapper whose legal name is Tawheed Epps. Okay, two very different subjects here. Geography and hip-hop. What is the answer we are looking for? Type it in, and that will be the end of round number 1, and we will cruise on to the second round. Final answers in. Last chance to get your 6th potential point of the game. Remember, guys, that smile I promised at the top of the show? It's still up for grabs. Somebody's gonna see it. Only one, though. There can be only one. The answer we're looking for this one is China and chains. We'd also accept chains with a Z. That's not a joke. If you type chains with a Z, you definitely... in fact, you should get maybe a bonus point. I'm not actually giving you one. But I'm saying good job, because that's technically a little more correct. Tawheed Epps is 2 Chainz. That's who we're talking about. Also, while looking at the Wikipedia page for 2 Chainz, you can find a quote of him saying, "Don't believe anything on Wikipedia. There's a lot of false stuff out there." There you go. Heard it from the man himself. That is the end of round number 1. A little spelling, a little trivia. Nice. Good work. How'd everybody do? Was anyone sitting with the perfect 6 points? I mean, we had Alan Rickman and 2 Chainz in 1 round. I mean, I expect everybody to be doing perfectly. Also, have you guys watched Galaxy Quest recently? It holds up, I think. I watched it pretty recently. Pleasantly surprised by how much I've still enjoyed it. Let's move on to round number 2, which is called Rotten Sequels. The Rotten Sequels round. Yeah, I'm excited about this round. This is a very silly round. We're going to test your knowledge on a very stupid subject. This is sort of a different take on our this or that round, actually. This is going to be our this or that round. What's going to happen is I'm going to give you the name of a movie sequel, okay? A real movie sequel, and you have to tell me if that movie was certified fresh by RottenTomatoes.com, which means that at least 75% of critics gave it a favorable review, which is pretty impressive, or did it get a literal 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, which means it got literally 0 good reviews. They were all bad. Not even on like a weird blog, okay? This is a very hard feat. There's only a couple dozen films in history that have ever gotten to 0%. So this is like a big gap. Either a vast majority said it was positive or 0% said it was a good movie. I also would like to say, this episode is not sponsored by Rotten Tomatoes. I just spend a lot of time on there, so this is why I included this round. But if you're the CEO of Rotten Tomatoes and you're watching this and you want to pay me to sit in a bathtub and talk about movies, please give me a call. Okay, let's move on. Just tell me fresh or rotten for your answer. That's all you need to say. Fresh or rotten when you type in your answer. Here's your first movie sequel. Jaws: The Revenge. Jaws: The Revenge. You tell me, did Jaws: The Revenge get a majority positive reviews, or did it get 0? 0 positive reviews. You tell me. I mean, Jaws. It's got to be one of the most successful thriller movies of all time. Jaws: The Revenge, you tell me. Fresh or rotten, type it in, F or R. The answer is, it's rotten. 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. Came out in 1987. It got a 0%, which I think is just so impressive. Like, at least get a 1% or 2%. I don't know, man. Michael Caine is in this film, surprisingly. I don't know how they snagged that. Also, if you're wondering, the tagline for this movie is, "This time, it's personal." I'm not joking. That's actually the tagline of this film. The second movie sequel is Indiana Jones in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. If you're not super familiar with Indiana Jones, this was the most recent one that came out 13 years ago. Remember that one? I mean, I'll be frank, people were not happy with it, but were critics. You tell me, fresh or rotten, type your answer in. See what we got. Also, while you guys are typing your answers, I would like to say, it looks like we have a lot of perfect scores so far. So that first round, you guys are all spelling aficionados. And apparently a lot of people have seen the movie Mac and Me. I love it. Question number 2, Indiana Jones, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, not scroll, that's Marvel, I believe, was fresh. Surprisingly, very fresh. 77% of critics loved it. Hated amongst almost all fans. Critics pretty into it. They actually were praising Harrison Ford's return to the role mostly. And also, lest we forget, this was the heyday of Shia LaBeouf's Hollywood career. I mean, he was in Transformers around this time. He was in this. I mean, he was probably just rolling in the dough. I prefer him in his current meta performance art persona. I mean, Honey Boy last year, one of my favorite films of the year. But, you know, arguably he was making a lot more money 12 years ago. So, you win some, you lose some. The third movie sequel, Stuart Little 2. Stuart Little 2. Is that fresh? Or did it get a 0%? To be honest, I don't even remember if I've seen the second one. Love the first one. I mean, who doesn't? But the second one, I truly don't remember. Stuart Little 2, fresh or rotten? What is it? The answer is, it's fresh. 82%. Pretty unmemorable movie, I'd have to say. I've never heard anyone talk about the nostalgia of having watched Stuart Little 2. But hey, it came out in 2002. It stars Michael J. Fox, so how can you really say anything bad about the movie? Also, here's the description that I found online. This is the official description. This time, Stuart must journey through the city with a reluctant snowbell, Nathan Lane, to rescue a new friend, Margalo, Melanie Griffith, from a villainous falcon, James Woods. Home run. I mean, what a cast. You got Michael J. Fox running around with Nathan Lane, running away from James Woods. Come on. That's 82% in my book. Number 4, Barbershop, The Next Cut. I believe this is the third film in the Barbershop saga. Barbershop, The Next Cut. By the way, you guys see what they did there? Cut, as in chop chop. Cut also is in like a cut of a film. Oh man. If that doesn't deserve certified fresh, I don't know what does. Rotten or fresh, you tell me. Barbershop, The Next Cut. The answer is... it's fresh! 90%! This movie was a hit. Came out in 2016, an incredibly high rating. But I think part of the reason why is it has a crazy star-studded cast. Ice Cube, Cedric the Entertainer, Nicki Minaj, Common, Tyga is in it. I mean, I get it. How many times do we get to see Tyga act in a movie with Nicki Minaj? That sounds pretty great. Question number 5. Here is your sequel. Look Who's Talking Now. Once again, the third film in this saga of the Look Who's Talking saga, starring Kirstie Alley and John Travolta. Look Who's Talking Now. That's how they let you know it's a sequel, because they added that extra word at the end. Also, how many times are people going to do that silly gimmick where the sequel has the word to in it, like T-O-O? I've seen that so many times. Let's move on from that joke. We get it. Look Who's Talking Now. Certified fresh or 0%? Fresh or rotten? Type your answer in. Did you guess? It's rotten. Yeah. 0 people liked it. 0 critics gave it a positive review. Came out in 1993, the third film in the saga. I guess they just couldn't pull it off a third time. The first 2 were actually pretty popular. The third one, not so much. Although it is reported that a producer of Fast and the Furious is rebooting the film franchise, with the baby, Mikey, now as an adult, having a baby of his own. Nobody asked for it, but we're getting it anyway. Thanks, Fast and the Furious. Question number 6. Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2. Speaking of babies, we got Super Babies. This is the sequel to Baby Geniuses. This is also a confusing title, because normally it would go Baby Geniuses 2, Super Babies is a more appropriate title. This one is Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2. I don't know. It's already not looking good for this one, but, you know, who knows. Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2, fresh or rotten? Type your answer in. Did you guess? Also rotten. 0% of critics liked it. I'm so impressed by the 0% ones, honestly. It came out in 2004. I don't even want to talk about what made this movie bad. I just want to read you a review from a reporter at the New Times. The first Baby Geniuses, released in 1999, was one of the most inane, humorless, ill-conceived, poorly acted comedies of the year. As difficult as it is to imagine, the sequel is even worse. That is a real quote. I also love how they insulted the acting, which is hypothetically done by babies. So this person really hated it. But so did everybody, apparently. Your 7th movie sequel is Escape from the Planet of the Apes. Escape from the Planet of the Apes. If you don't know which one this is, because there's like 400 of these movies, this is of the original saga, not the reboot recently. And once again, I believe it's the third one. A lot of thirds coming out. But I think there's maybe 5 in that original saga. This is the third. Maybe. Someone fact check me. Escape from the Planet of the Apes. Don't fact check until after this question, though. No cheating. Escape from the Planet of the Apes. I like how it kind of rhymes, so I'll give them that. Fresh or rotten? Did you guess? It's fresh. 77%. Pretty good. Came out in 1971. Yeah. The New Yorker said about it, rather splendid, rather encouraging. All right. I think I would like to watch that this year. I need an encouraging film. I like it. Your final movie sequel of round number 2, Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol. Who knew we needed so many Police Academy movies? Was it fresh or was it rotten? With 0%. You tell me. Type your answers in and then count up your scores, because we are moving right along, halfway done. Did you guess that Police Academy 4 got a 0%? 0%! Once again, I just want to read you some of the reviews to let it do the talking. The Washington Post said, just when you think American film comedy has hit the bottom of the barrel, it makes a supreme effort and keeps sinking. That's pretty bad. Empire Magazine's review literally just said, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's a real review. And that is the end of round number 2. Pretty amazing. I mean, I really want to emphasize how hard it is to get 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. There are only a couple films in history that have done it, and a surprising amount of them are sequels. It's actually not that surprising now that I think about it. I mean, if you're just making a sequel based purely on monetary motivations, you're already doomed from the start. Count up your scores. Let us know how you're doing. Does anybody have 14 points? That'd be amazing if you got a perfect score after that doozy of a this or that round. Let us move on to round number 3, which is called Monuments Women. Monuments Women, a round devoted to my gender-reversed remake of a thoroughly mediocre 2014 film directed by George Clooney, Monuments Men. It's Monuments Women. This will be our multiple choice round. So for this round, just give me an A, B, C, or D, I believe. Just type those answers in, and that'll do it. If you don't understand what this round is about, because the title doesn't necessarily give it away, it's all about women and monuments. That's it. It's like art history, kind of. You'll get the hang of it really quick, like. Let's move on to question number 1. Mexico City's Monumento de Independencia is crowned with a statue of this Greek goddess of victory. Here are your choices. A, Hera. B, Aphrodite. C, Nike. D, Artemis. Monumento de Independencia is crowned with a statue of this goddess of victory. Do you know your Greek gods? If you did, you got this in the bag. A, B, C, or D. Type your answer in. Did you guess? It's C. Yep, it's Nike. Nike is the goddess of victory. Also, fun fact, within the base of the monument, there's actually a mausoleum containing the remains of some of the heroes of Mexican independence, including Leona Vicario, one of the first female journalists in Mexico and a major financial supporter of the rebellion that led to Mexico's independence from Spain. Who knew? You probably know this monument I'm referring to. Maybe not by name, but if you looked it up, you'd be like, oh, right, that one. I bet you didn't know that there is a literal mausoleum in the base of that statue. Question number 2. Though not monuments per se, the monumental sculptures of this artist were reportedly influenced by Mayan ruins and Cubism. Sky Cathedral Night Wall, one of her sculptured walls, was said to take over a decade to create, which is a long time. Here are your choices. Louise Nevelson, Georgia O'Keeffe, Harriet Hosmer, or Barbara Giddings. Do you know your art history? By the way, after this question is done, after I've given the answer, please go look up Sky Cathedral Night Wall. Pretty amazing. Took, I believe, around 13 years to complete. Yikes. A, B, C, or D, type your answers in. Did you guess? It's A, Louise Nevelson. Yeah, Nevelson, considered a major figure in 20th century sculpture, but, I mean, the other women on these choices, no slouches at all. Georgia O'Keeffe is, well, Georgia O'Keeffe, painter, but, you know, close enough. Harriet Hosmer, one of the first female sculptors recognized on the international stage. And Barbara Giddings was a pioneer in the fight for the rights of gay and lesbian Americas. Not a sculptor at all, but an interesting historical figure. So, you know, I threw her in the mix. Just look her up if you don't know her. Pretty amazing. Question number 3. Alice Cooper designed a monument dedicated to this woman, which was unveiled at Portland's Lewis and Clark exhibition in 1905. Here are your choices. A. Pocahontas. B. Martha Jefferson. C. Sacagawea, who, incidentally, apparently it's pronounced with a hard G. Sacagawea is apparently a closer pronunciation. D. Dolly Madison. Who is it? I bet some people probably, without even getting the choices, might have already had an idea. So let's see how many people get this one right. Pocahontas, Martha Jefferson, Sacagawea, or Dolly Madison. The answer is, it's C. Sacagawea. Yep, the only woman who made the journey with Lewis and Clark, and she brought along her infant son. Pretty amazing, and her contributions to the expedition were numerous. But her life story was not exactly a Disney movie. I mean, she was in a marriage with, I'm doing air quotes if you can't see him, with a French-Canadian fur trapper that's presumed to be a non-consensual marriage. And though legends about her surviving into old age persist even today, it's more likely that she died at 25 years old. Yeah, pretty tragic, but an amazing woman in history. Question number 4 in the Monuments Women round is, Gertrude Vanderbilt Whitney founded the Whitney Museum, and some of her most notable works include the Titanic Memorial and The Scout, a bronze statue of this famed showman. Your choices are A. Buffalo Bill Cody, B. Buster Keaton, C. Charlie Chaplin, or D. Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser. My boy. Type your answer into the chat if you think you know what the Scout is portraying. Gertrude Vanderbilt Whitney. If that isn't the fanciest name I've ever heard, it makes sense that they would open a museum, because how could they not be the fanciest lady in all of the land? The answer we're looking for is Buffalo Bill Cody. That is A, is the answer we're looking for. By the way, on our website, we have the story of Buffalo Bill's remains, the ownership of which has much more hotly contested than you might imagine. I mean, it's basically a Colorado-Wyoming showdown over a famed entertainer's skeleton, which, I mean, that has got to hit at least 3 squares on your Mental Floss bingo card. Also, I really do want to shout out Brendan Fraser. I love that guy, and I'm glad he's having a comeback. If you haven't watched Doom Patrol, he's absolutely killing it in that show. Shout out to Brendan Fraser. I don't know why I'm spending so much time talking about Brendan Fraser, but George of the Jungle hits home. Question number 5, your final question of the Monuments Women round. Paris's Jeanne d'Arc is one of several monuments around the world dedicated to Joan of Arc, who rose to prominence during this conflict. The War of the Roses, A. B. The 100 Years' War. C. The Crusades. D. The French Wars of Religion. Which conflict is Joan of Arc associated with? Type it in. War of the Roses, 100 Years' War, the Crusades, the French Wars of Religion. It's always nice when you're streaming live and then you notice a typo and there's nothing you can do about it except just sit there and just live in it. Yeah, I see that I didn't capitalize the correct letter in the word wars. What are you going to do about it? This is a power move. I'm just going to sit here and make you look at that typo. The answer I was looking for this final question in your 3rd round is 100 Years' War, baby. That is B. That's the answer we're looking for question number 5. Joan of Arc, considered one of the most studied subjects of the Middle Ages, mostly because of the wealth of primary source materials available. Yeah, there are 5 complete manuscripts of her condemnation trial. There are the complete records of her rehabilitation trial. There are the original French notes for the Latin condemnation trial transcript, and contemporary letters which are presumed to be written by Joan. Wow. I mean, if I were a historian, I would also study the crap out of Joan of Arc, because you got so much to read. I love it. Bingo, bango, bongo, we did it. I'm so sorry I just said bingo, bango, bongo. Can't even say it right the second time. It's for the best. Monuments Women, all done. George Clooney, eat your heart out. We're about to move on to the final round. How's everybody doing? After this round, we're not going to see each other again until September. How weird is that? Where has the year gone? Actually, please don't answer that. I don't really want to know where the year has gone. I don't want to think about it. Let's move on to the final round, which is called Salmagundi. The Salmagundi round. I really like the sound of this word. Salmagundi. Salmagundi, if you're unfamiliar, specifically refers to a dish of chopped meat, anchovies, eggs, and onions. Which, I mean, that's got to be the smelliest combination of foods in the history of cuisine. But Salmagundi is also used as a generic term for a miscellaneous collection. So that's what this is, okay? It's going to be our potpourri general knowledge round. The answers may or may not be related somehow, but the important thing is these questions are going to be all over the place. Before we get started, I just gotta say, Heather Rodriguez is rocking 17 points right now. Pretty impressive. Can anybody catch Heather Rodriguez? But also want to shout out to Carolyn, who is doing not so great, they say. Relatable. I get it. Salmagundi round. This one's for you, Carolyn. Good luck. Question number 1. Though it likely inflated the supposed rivalry between him and Mozart, the 1984 film Amadeus did help revive interest in the work of this Italian composer. What are we talking about? Who are we talking about? If you've seen Amadeus, that would certainly help. If you know your music history, that would also help. If you are really good at guessing, you're going to nail it. Who are we talking about for question number 1? Amadeus's enemy, which, you know, is maybe a bit hyperbolic. The answer we're looking for is Salieri. Yeah, Salieri is, you know, sort of the other in Amadeus. Milos Forman's Oscar-winning film, Amadeus, is actually based on a play by Peter Shaffer, who alluded to the less than historically accurate details of his work in calling it a fantasia on the theme of Mozart and Salieri. The cast of the 1980 Broadway production of the play, by the way, starred Ian McKellen and Tim Curry, who ended up going head-to-head in the Best Actor category at the Tonys. That sounds amazing. I would love to see those two act together. If you're wondering, Ian McKellen did take home the victory. Question number 2. This Kurdish-born ruler helped Muslim forces take Jerusalem in 1187 CE. Kurdish-born ruler in 12th century CE, helping Muslim forces. There's a lot of keywords you can hone in on the correct answer here. What are we looking for? Type it in. I'll give you a few extra seconds. If it's not multiple choice or if it's not a this or that, I gotta respect that you gotta type in all the letters. So, you know, I'll give you a couple extra seconds. Did you guess? The answer I'm looking for is Saladin. Yep, Saladin. Saladin united much of the Muslim world and was considered the Sultan of Egypt and Syria. He died in 1193 from a mysterious fever. Alrighty. Question number 3 in the Salmagundi round. If you're the raunchy or libidinous member of your friend group, a Sex and the City lover might call you the blank of your crew. This question took a totally different turn from the tone of the other two. If you're the raunchy guy in your group, who might you be referred to by someone who loves Sex and the City? Sex in the City. The answer we are looking for is, you're the Samantha. You're just the absolute Samantha of that group, you naughty dog. I would right now make a body pun in honor of Kim Cattrall, but I'm not sure the internet is ready for that, so I'll save it. Question number 4. Often working in courtrooms, this type of professional dictates what is being said for the record. Who are we talking about? What occupation are we talking about here? Often working in courtrooms, this type of professional dictates what's being said for the official record. What is the name? You know who I'm talking about. It's the person who, when they're like, hey, can you read that back for me? They're the person who reads it, types it really quick. You know what I'm talking about. Do you know what they're called, though? That is the question. The answer is a stenographer. That's what they are, stenographer. Yeah, but I bet a bunch of people just went, oh, right, of course, a stenographer. Experienced stenographers can record around 250 words per minute. Holy moly. But the Guinness World Record holder, Mark Kingsbury, actually recorded 360 words per minute with over 97% accuracy in 2004. Holy guacamole. That's a lot of words. I mean, I know they're using a little bit of shorthand or something. I don't exactly know how it works, but that's averaging 6 words a second. So either way, I'm very impressed. Question number 5. If certain letters intrinsically appear in specific colors, or you associate particular sounds with corresponding taste sensations, you may be experiencing this neurological condition. Okay. You know what we're talking about? This is sort of an interesting topic in most psychology classes I've found. In the few psychology courses I've ever taken, they always bring this condition up because it's so just fascinating, I guess. Do you know what it's called? It's a bit of a speller. It's a bit tough to spell, so I'll give you a couple extra seconds. It's a bit of a clue. If you typed in something that's really easy to spell, you know you probably didn't get it right. If you called it the blue condition, it's not correct. What we're looking for is synesthesia. That's what it's called, synesthesia. Yeah. There's actually a little bit of controversy around synesthesia, but I just totally flubbed the word. Notable figures who have self-reported forms of the condition include Pharrell Williams, Vladimir Nabokov, and Billy Joel. Yeah, all say that they experience some form of synesthesia. There you go. Question number 6. This figure of speech also lent its name to a Charlie Kaufman film starring Philip Seymour Hoffman. An example would be, the film failed to attract many eyeballs. Which is true, unfortunately. I say unfortunately because I absolutely love this film. I'm a big Kaufman fan. But it is both a figure of speech and it lent its name to a film that came out about 12 years ago, I would say. 11 years ago? 12 years ago? The answer we're looking for is, I'll give you a few extra seconds for this one as well. Hint, hint, is synecdoche. Yeah, synecdoche. Not synecdoche, which sounds a lot more fun to say, but it's synecdoche. The film was called Synecdoche, New York, which is a play on Schenectady, the upstate New York town where Kurt Vonnegut once worked for General Electric. Kaufman, incidentally, once discussed writing an adaptation of Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-Five with Guillermo del Toro, but the adaptation never came to be, but Kaufman's film adaptation did. If you're very confused by everything I just said, but intrigued, you may like the work of Charlie Kaufman, because intriguing and confusing are two very good descriptors. I love Charlie Kaufman. I will say it proudly that he's my favorite writer in Hollywood. Not ashamed to admit that. He's also got a new film coming out on Netflix pretty soon, I believe, and his first novel came out this summer. There you go. You just got a whole history lesson on Charlie Kaufman. Question number 7. Someone who is more attracted to intelligence than physical appearance may identify as this. What is that called? More attracted to intelligence than physical appearance. Hey, if you're looking at me, you don't get either. Sorry. That was brutal, even for my own self-put down. The answer we're looking for, last answer's in, type it in. What's it called? They might identify as a sapiosexual. Sapiosexual, yeah. The great music producer Mark Ronson once said, I feel like I identify as sapiosexual on ITV's Good Morning Britain, but after news coverage framed it as like a coming out, he made it clear that he didn't see himself as part of a marginalized group or sexual orientation. It was more of an offhanded, if admittedly slightly ignorant comment about his preferences. All right, Mark Ronson. Sapiosexual, the answer for number 7. Question number 8 is this. This 1994 action film that primarily takes place on a bus won 2 Academy Awards. What action movie are we talking about? It takes place on a bus. Not gonna lie, doesn't sound very thrilling. But what do I know? It's not like I'm a huge fan of action films or anything. I like action films alright. Well, I like action films starring one very specific actor, but, you know, that's just me. Type your answers in. Which 1994 film are we talking about? Won 2 Academy Awards. The answer we're looking for is... You know what I'm talking about. It's Speed, starring Keanu Reeves, my favorite actor in the history of the world. Speed won both Oscars for sound editing that year. Yeah. And while Keanu was snubbed for Best Actor, it did make him and Sandra and everyone else on that movie a ton of money. So much so that the sequel Speed 2 Cruise Control, which, yes, takes place on a boat and is basically the exact same plot, was supposed to be another smash hit, but Keanu decided not to appear in it and instead opted for a small Winnipeg theatrical production of Hamlet. You gotta appreciate his commitment to the craft and not to just a big studio paycheck. I love you, Keanu. You're the best. Question number 9. Famous figures including Bernie Sanders and Rosie O'Donnell have had these inserted to help prop open potentially clogged arteries. Bernie Sanders and Rosie O'Donnell had what inserted to help prop open their arteries? What are those called? Type your answer in. And then we're moving on to the final question of the night. Yep. I like to say things really slowly. I feel it makes everything sound much more dramatic, no matter what you're saying. After this episode, I will be ordering Taco Bell. Thank you. The answer for this one is... They're called stents. Yeah, they had stents inserted. There's actually considerable research suggesting that stents are overprescribed and are much more costly than alternative treatment options that are just as effective. I am not a doctor, but I did skim 3 New York Times articles to prepare for this question, so let me operate on you, I guess? I don't know, it's getting late. I'm in a bathtub. Don't mind me. Your final question of the night. Let's see how it goes. Carolyn, this one's still for you. You got this, Carolyn. Paul Cézanne's representation of apples and pears is an example of this type of painting. That's it. What is the name of that style of painting? You kind of have to know who Cézanne is, although maybe you can just piece it together if you've seen a painting involving fruits before. What is the name for that type of painting? Type your answer in, and then that's it. We are done. And I was not kidding about that Taco Bell. I am very excited about it. Once again, this episode is not sponsored by Taco Bell, nor Rotten Tomatoes, nor Monuments Men. So, you know, this is just truly me giving you a look into my interests. Question number 10. The answer we're looking for is a still life painting. Yeah, still life. Right? Now you know. This has nothing to do with Cézanne, but I did learn that in Spanish art, including some pieces by Diego Velázquez, excuse me, certain still life paintings depicting food and drink items are known as bodegones, which comes from the same word that gives New York its bodegas, the stores where you can get, you know, a bacon, egg, and cheese for $3, or a pair of rubber gloves, or a charger for an iPhone 4. There you go. The more you know. That is the end of our Salmagundi round and the end of bathtub trivia. That's right. Congratulations for making it all the way to the end. You are a true trivia pro. Hey, there we go. I got those bubbles back. Start tallying up your scores right now. Let us know what you ended up with. High score, low score, doesn't matter. We'd love to shout you out. And while you're doing that, let me leave you with your final fun fact of the night. Did you know that in a No! Oh no! That was disastrous. This guy almost drowned. And he would have drowned without a name because nobody has named this poor duck yet. If you have a name for this duck, please type it in the chat so that he does not drown. Nameless. We have to write something on his grave. Where was I? Let me start over. Did you know that a notorious con man once sold the Eiffel Tower, not once, but twice actually? Yeah, sold the Eiffel Tower. His name was Count Victor Lustig, who, it turns out, is not really a count, nor is his name really Victor Lustig. Is considered one of the greatest modern conmen. His many cons included a counterfeit banknote operation so big that it actually threatened to totally disrupt the American economy in the 1930s. But his most famous cons were selling the Eiffel Tower by posing as a French government official and offering up the Eiffel Tower to be sold to various construction agencies. Bids flew in, he raked in money, and then he disappeared. Lustig was eventually sentenced to 20 years on Alcatraz. Pretty amazing. If you haven't heard about this guy, you need to look him up. He's a crazy con man. But reading about the Count, he was incredibly impressive, but is it just me, or did it seem so much easier to be a criminal before computers? Like, being a thief anywhere past like 100 years ago is honestly like a better lifestyle choice than most other occupations. Like, just take a thing and then run fast. If you run faster than the guy you took it from, you're clear, you're good. Or just like put on a mustache, boom, disguise, done. I was born in the wrong era. Let's give a shout out to Heather Rodriguez, who was able to hold on to their victory, their lead, 25 points. A very impressive showing from Heather Rodriguez, who seems to have put an end to Sarah Kurosawa's reign of trivia terror. Shout out to Heather for this win. Oh, and I forgot. I owe you something. I promised you the smile at the top of the show. You are about to get it, but I need to make sure. If you are not Heather Rodriguez, I need you to look away from your screen right now. This smile is not for you. Okay? Is everybody turned away? Heather, you watching? This is just for you. Okay, here we go. There we go. Everybody, you can look back now. Congratulations to Heather, but congratulations to everybody. Now you know a little bit more than you did 45 minutes ago. Thank you very much for playing, and we will see you again next time, where we're going to be back in this tub spewing trivia like it's our job, which for me, it is. 2 weeks from today, I believe that will be September 11th. Mark it on your calendars. We will see you then. Stay bubbly, my friends.